Payment.
That would be, it depends on the school.
Possible.
Oh.
Oh, gotcha, you got shorts.
That helps a little bit.
No,
Verify the terms of the. I don't know what else you think. Gotta make sure.
That's the problem. Oh, I know,
but that was a stupid.
Point that one out, that'll ruin.
5 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Not afraid to use this today, so I'm watching you, Clayton. No, kidding. Sorry. Thank you all for coming. We'll call to order. We'll start with a roll call. All here.
Erickson here. Warner here. Erickson here.
Grant here.
Imker here.
And Keel here. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, we'll move right on to approval of agenda, and I'd like to add a discussion for the superintendent contract discussion. We probably place that into old business. Is there any other comments or questions on the agenda? If not, would we have a motion to approve the agenda with the added adjustment for under old business with contract discussion?
So move.
Jake moves. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Troy seconds. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor to approve the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now is the time we'll move into our public comment. Do we have anybody up there? I guess we'll just start with my guidelines. Our meetings are held to conduct official business while open to the public. They are not public forums. The board welcomes community input during a designated 30-minute public comment period. Each speaker has up to 3 minutes and must state their name, address, and topic. Respectful communication is required. Personal, disparaging, or inappropriate remarks against anyone will not be tolerated. Board members and administrators do not respond during public comment, so don't take that personal. Though the topics may be considered for future agendas. And thank you for your cooperation and support of our school and communities. We're ready.
Board members, my name is Jamie Derrickson. I live at 406 South Ash Street. I am an alumnus of this institution and also a faculty member. I teach choir. Today, I will be addressing the letter that was found. When I graduated college a few years ago, I was contacted by former administrators and encouraged to apply for this position. Despite advice from others, I chose to return to this district because I'm proud to be a product of the teachers and programs here, many of whom are still serving students today. I believed I would be supported and encouraged to continue the strong traditions that make Red Rock Central what it was when I was a student here. I can say, in most cases, I have been supported by my coworkers, my friends, and my family. I care deeply about this school, the students I serve, and our community. I debated whether or not I should speak to you tonight, but in the end, remaining silent about this situation would go against the values that were instilled upon me here. That being said, I would have not dreamed I would find myself in a situation where people in leadership positions would encourage conduct by students intended to publicly humiliate staff. I bring this to you in this public forum because I was mentioned by name in this plan. A written plan was created, allegedly by a trusted adult, that outlined in detail how students should attempt to embarrass me at graduation and then referred to it as a prank to make it seem harmless. This is deeply disturbing and unacceptable. Our job as adults is to model the behavior and attitudes we want to see in the children and young adults we influence. Commencement is meant to be a celebration of achievements and ascending for our seniors, not a time for retributions or for perceived wrongs. The written plan referenced students being subjected to my personal agenda as a part of its justification. I want to make it absolutely clear that my only agenda has ever been to maintain and strengthen the music programs and traditions that shaped me as a student, and to create opportunities for current and future students, to allow my students to experience the same sense of belonging, pride, and satisfaction that I once did. Every decision I have made in this position has been rooted in what I believed was best for the students and for the continued success of these programs. No one, not students, not employees, not board members, and not patrons, should be subjected to targeted humiliation, especially by those in leadership positions. This district and its board members should be focused on supporting all students and staff members, not enabling personal vendettas or public embarrassment of anyone. Our school belongs to the entire community, and its leaders should be models of professionalism, integrity, and respect. It is unfortunate that we have to discuss such things at what should be a joyous time in the school year for all of us. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jamie. Do we have anybody else for public comment? All right.
There's two others on.
Oh, there's, oh, sorry. All right.
I am Bonnie Holman, and I'm here to represent the kitchen staff of Red Rock Central. I'd like just to hand a little, this isn't what I'm gonna read, but something for you to read on your time. Careful.
First.
I think I said that I'm Bonnie Holman. Coming to a school board meeting is long overdue for our department. We have continued to take the approach of believing that what we are told are a promise, and we have been left with empty promises. We also want to believe that over the years, administration had our back and represented us positively, fairly, and accurately. We realize this has not always been the case. The paper I've handed out got a little longer than planned, but it's an overview of Taher's visits from our perspective. We wanted to make sure that you were given information from the perspective of the frontline staff. We also included some other kitchen facts as well as concerns and updates. On the back side, we give some examples and ideas how you can help support our current food service program. I'm always willing to answer questions for the board. Feel free to get a hold of me via phone, email, or in person. Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Hi, I'm Leah Bittner. I have a couple different things I want to bring forward, so I want to wear a couple different hats. So, one, as a parent of a student in the district, I would prefer that we not contract with Taher, as I have worked with them in a professional setting utilize their services through my work in some of our Head Start programs, and I have seen the befores and afters and not been as satisfied going that direction. So I've seen it from somebody who's utilized it and worked in a school that has had it. It's just not something I would vote for as a parent. I think the gals do just fine the way it is. I like the comment that was made earlier in the year that, what are we supposed to serve the kids, steak and potatoes? Like, no, this is school lunch. It has to be certain calories, certain nutrition facts, and everything that they serve versus what Taher would serve, it's all the same nutrition. It's all CN labeled, it's all the same or similar. So, because I also do some of that on my work too. But, so anyhow, that's all I have on that. Now, For my other hat, just from city council perspective, I'm also a council member in town, and I wanted to bring forward that we discussed on Monday about safe routes to school. And I very highly much encourage that I think we need to work together to get that submitted again this year, and we need to find somebody at the school that's willing to head that up. We need that. I have heard numerous times from the public, I don't know if you guys have, but I've heard numerous times from the public that one of these days, a kid's gonna get hit. We need to have safer routes for our kids walking to school. We do not bus in town. We need to follow through on what we started 2 years ago. And there's some funds out there to get that done, to get sidewalks put in, crossing lights put in, to, push the light and have it, so where people actually are paying attention and slowing down when kids are ready. So if somebody is ready to, we can find somebody that'd be willing to head that up and help us proceed forward with that and work in collaboration with us, cause that's not something necessarily that the city can just do by itself or that the school can really just do by itself. We have to collaborate together to do it. We kind of hold the funds, but we need somebody at the school that's willing to do it. We paid money, we did the grant, we sent kids to crossing guard school, and then we've never once had a crossing guard. So if we're gonna apply for grant funds and do this, let's do it. Let's make this safer for our kids getting to school. So, that's that. That's what I got. Thanks, guys.
Does everybody have your email? Did you write your email down by chance? We can all.
No, I didn't, but I can.
Okay, it'd be great if you could.
I have to look up what my city one is.
Okay.
I don't have
Do you
that
wanna
one
just email me?
memorized.
You wanna just email me? And
Yeah.
I could share that, just email me and I'll share it.
Okay.
Right.
Otherwise, it's also on the city
Oh,
website.
yeah, thank you.
Under council. Oh, sorry, one more thing. The lunch cart, the a la carte, I ate off that in school.
Salad bar.
Salad bar.
Salad bar.
The salad bar, I ate off that at my school. That's from the dumpster at my school that I went to as a child and school that I worked at as a 19-year-old.
Okay, I do kind of remember we got that.
I am over 40, so that's a hot minute ago.
Thanks for the update.
No,
Alright.
15 years.
My name is Bailey Davis,
Kathy Nelson.
and we just wanted to speak on the things that Kathy has done since coming in and observing food service and trying to assist with some changes to help make the flow go better, and things like that.
I'm sorry, did you say Kathy Nelson?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So Kathy worked with the kitchen staff on trying to make the lunch lines flow quicker. She gave suggestions on moving the lunch trays. She gave suggestions of how to move things within the salad bar within the kitchen setting. And then she also gave tips on how to offer more than just the two options that there are. Do you have anything, Kathy?
Oh, that's about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. If there's any other comments? You know, we appreciate everybody stepping forward, and I made notes, and I think majority, I think we all did, had our pens going. Otherwise, we'll move on to the presentation from the Mayor. Is that, so who's here? Here for two.
Kathy, would that be it for you guys?
Would that be just yours? Okay. I guess I had that all kind of mixed up here. That's all right. Otherwise, we can move into our board reports and.
We still have a presentation.
Oh, we do. Which report?
The child care pod.
Oh, I guess I have that. Yeah, I guess we're the child care pod.
don't you come up?
Yeah, come on up, I was looking at the paper one and, so,
Yes, thank you for having us.
yep.
So I'm Grady Holberg, I'm the Economic Development Coordinator with the county. Colby, good to see you. Rebecca and I have been part of a program through the county, the Rural Child Care Innovation Program, to learn more about the child care barriers we have in the county and try to find some solutions to them. So as part of our ongoing efforts to find solutions, Rebecca, I think, kind of started this off with Dr. Godfrey, exploring if there's any possible spaces within the school that could be used to serve a child care, like what they now call special family child care, or what's typically called a child care pod. It's very limited needs that come with these facilities for child care providers to operate out of them. Dr. Godfrey had indicated there might be a classroom that could be open and available for use. And that would be a perfect location for a provider to operate out of. There's a couple other concerns or a couple other checkbox items that would need to be looked at, like I think there needs to be in proximity. They need to have a hand washing sink within the room itself. But one good thing that happened from COVID is that now portable hand washing sinks are allowed by statute in childcare classrooms. So those are offered by Johnny Craft. We can get those if that's needed. There are some other funds available too right now through the state, through Department of Children, Youth and Families for publicly owned child care facilities. So if there were to be any needs that need, something needs to be added or some sort of piece needs to be brought in, there is funding available that we could pursue to see that happen as well. So we wanted to present to just sort of inform the board of kind of what we'd like to do and sort of gauge interest if that's something the board wants to potentially move forward with. And you still have a couple of folks that would be interested in providing here in town out of a space if one can be located. If the board wants to move forward, I think our next step would be bringing our licensor to see if the space would meet the needs of a provider, if there's anything that would need to be changed. And that would kind of tell us, you know, if it's a feasible option for us to proceed with at that point, I think.
So we met recently, and I think we all know, especially those that have younger children, that childcare we're in a crisis, and there are waiting lists, and it's just hard to find. We will have open spaces next year, because we have that lower enrollment, especially coming into kindergarten. I worry about long-term, and we discussed that too. If that enrollment picks up, we'll have to recoup those classrooms. We're not the first school to talk about this or even implement something like this. It happens quite a bit across all the Midwest, just because there's such a tremendous lack of daycare, and including for our teachers. So that would be a bonus in itself. I would suggest the next step is have the room inspected and just put that in motion so we know we can meet the code that needs to be met in the first place. Because if not, and it takes a lot of renovation, that's probably a done deal, from that. And then maybe come back to the board and present that, and the board can make a decision from there. But I think it's a very relevant idea. I think it'd be great for our district and our communities.
I tend to agree, but I have a ton of questions. There's a ton of questions, like how would liability work with something like that when it's a provider that's coming into our space?
Sure, the provider would have to carry their own liability insurance for that. And there is some available, and that's something that we can assist in getting them connected with as well. But that's usually how it runs, is the provider maintains their own insurance for that space.
For the space or for any space utilized by the provider?
It would be for the space that they're using there. If they're using
The playground, the bathroom.
That's different. The playground and the bathrooms are different. Those can be communal spaces that can be used just anywhere. Like a provider could use a city park as their outdoor space if they're within so many blocks of it. It's just the indoor space that children will be cared for within.
Then is there any?
Not just the confines of the room that they're leasing.
It would just be
It would just be, so
yeah, it
like
should
they would
just
eat
be-
their meals in that room, they would do everything in that room, nothing else in the school.
That would be kind of up for a negotiation thing, because with the food service that you have in the school, a contract could be made that they could purchase meals from the school
Yep.
for their children and then be able to eat them in the lunchroom potentially. Or, I mean, if you wanted that as a stipulation, you could set it up that you wanted them to eat in the classroom, but that would make that classroom space, you know, would change what would be required.
And as far as like the insurance goes, if they would need insurance beyond the confined space they'd be operating out of,
Yeah.
that's something the licensor would be able
Okay.
to give us more direction on.
Right, like if somebody were to choke in our lunchroom or
Mhm.
slip and fall or something, I mean, it's
Right.
just a little bit of a unique concept.
A lot of schools in the past done it, like if, I assume they start way before school starts, do they get their own key?
Yeah, a lot of
Well,
times
no,
when they do like the Milroy School, they have a program operating out of there now, and they'll be closing at the end of the year, but they've had it for, I think, the last couple of years she's been operating out of. She has 2 doors that go directly to the outside of the building, and she has her own keys for those, and that's also where parents come in and drop off, so the kids don't really have to go through any common areas of the school very much. I think they eat in the lunchroom there, cause it's right connected to that lunchroom in that school. But they just come right in those side doors in and out, and then they're good.
See, that's another thing I got a problem with because we said to parents when we moved into this building that they were not allowed to walk their kids into their elementary rooms because of security. And then we're gonna lease a room and let any parent that has a child enrolled in that daycare in and out of there. Like, that would be something we would have to think about and work through.
And we do have the doors on that side of the building. I think there'd be a way to minimize the flow inside the building. I'm not sure.
But you know, it's still.
It'd be nice to ask Norway how they're working on it and what they do. Like if there are other districts too, I can make some contacts, maybe even help me find.
Yeah, I can do some more digging, but typically what I've seen is that they'll have a dedicated door for that program to come in and out, mainly to reduce traffic, so they don't have a bunch of people at the main entrance, but it's also like designated, this is specific for the childcare. Some will put a coded entry, and then their parent, like the parents for the kid in there have a code to get in. A lot of other centers do the same sort of thing, so the parents come up, they put in their code, and then they can just get in and out with their kids.
That's still, for access for ours, it just puts them right in the hallway too, I mean, there's no
Yeah.
direct access to any of the rooms, so,
Sure.
too. But then we'd also have to, in my mind, we'd still have to talk to our food service too to see what their workload is, if they can comfortably handle. This depends on the numbers that the childcare would have, but
I think there's just a lot of logistics that would
Yeah.
have to be worked out, but
A lot.
the good first step would be to see if it's even a
Yeah, it's an
possibility.
option.
Yep, I think this is just kind of the landing page to start talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and bringing the licensor down, we'd be able to work through a lot of those concerns and questions. They'd be able to give us some good direction on what is allowed and not allowed by the rules, and then that kind of tells us where we need to go from there.
Agreed, if you can make that connection, maybe we can just get somebody to come in and look at the room.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll reach out to Melanie, our county licensor, and I'll follow up with you, and we'll get something scheduled.
And then I'm concerned that the flow, how they get to the classrooms, they're not entering for a building where other students could be.
Mhm.
So you just gotta make sure you keep it confined.
Yeah, that'd be most ideal, something that, you know, if there's not direct access to the room, if it's right off of the hallway that's entering the building, just something that's kind of easy to get to, least amount of traffic, but there's options. I mean, there's no one right or wrong way to do it. Just kind of depends on what the space looks like and what the licensor thinks mainly.
Yeah, is there a charge for this district for them to come down to?
No.
Okay.
Nope, they'll come down for free and inspect the space. If there was like, we needed an architect to come in and do drawings for renovation, that's where money comes in, but there's even cost to cover that if, or grants to cover that cost if there ever was something to look at.
Okay. Yeah, I guess when would they come down to do that?
She's usually pretty readily available, like I would think anytime in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I could probably get something scheduled, depends on what, her schedule looks like, probably this next week, but 3 weeks I would think would be doable.
Just let me know and we'll plan it out.
Perfect.
I think that'd be a good first step, just to see if it's even feasible, so.
Any other questions that we can answer while we're here for the board? Alright, well, I'll follow up with you, Dr. Guyton, and we'll get something figured out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Alright. Presentation after pointing that out, I was on my. We can move on to our board reports and I communicated this with Dr. Godfrey that MR Paving reached out and they'd possibly be doing a project in town. They were just wondering if they have access to the south lot for stockpile like they did before, and it was. See, we were wondering if Red Rock School would allow us to use the gravel lot to the south along 9th Avenue as a staging yard for the street improvement project located on Grove Street in Lamberton. Again, this project bids tomorrow, and we would factor this into the bid if we could use this lot. The project would take place from July to September, so I don't know. That,
Sure,
I know we did.
and then pave the path.
yeah.
We did
As payment.
accommodate, the crew doing the deck around the pool, and we need places to store concrete, so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so out of the way of everything.
And if utilizing that, they kinda, they can bid it accordingly and
They're just gonna park stuff there.
pretty much maybe
Build anything.
not build anything that they might.
No, I mean, they're not gonna put any old tar there.
I don't know if they're gonna mill there, cause you just said a staging area, but they said when they got done, they'd level it off and they'd clean it up and make it a. We understood from they'd level it off for us and make sure it's clean when they're done, so,
Often, when they get done, if they're asphalting, they'll have leftover asphalt.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying, like asphalt the path.
I need to tell them to have that.
Yes, load up the truck.
Got a deal for you.
Overfill it.
That
Overfill it.
would be
Yeah,
a
I've
great,
been approached by pavers before, well, hey, we have this much left over, do you want us to do anything with it, so.
that'd be a good
I
trade.
think it's good to work with them a little
Yeah.
bit. We're gonna need them at some point for patching the parking lots or whatever.
Yeah.
so.
I told them I didn't think it'd be an issue, I just double check with everybody.
Is there anything in our parking lot that needs repaired at the same time?
Not right now. I mean, we're gonna
Not
get to seal it here before too long, probably next year, next summer. We're sealing it right now, that's the only thing. I mean, it's still brand new parking lot, so.
That's all I had for
So do you
my,
need a motion on something like that?
no, I think we just an update.
Census?
A census that it's okay to use.
Yeah, that would be okay if they brought too much.
Yeah, I'll hit that too.
We'll just say only, you can use it only if you bring too much.
As long
And
as,
we're gonna, it's actually gonna have to be a
other
lot.
than-
It's a lot.
as long as the lot's in as good or better shape than what they showed up.
Yeah.
That's why I gathered it will be, so. Other than that, if anybody else has anything to add, on that, we can move on to our staff reports for, I guess we can open it up to our business manager.
Are you starting at the top and working down, or just finance report? I'll pull it up. Okay.
I'm just, yeah, I'll start with the finance report. Okay, finance report, the board claims, and this is just the bills that, when I say board claims, that's the things that are being mailed out tomorrow after this meeting. And so in our general fund, we had 103,165.65. Food service, and I'm gonna just point out, I try to always remember to point this one out. The claims, which are the expenses, say $7,624.99, but that is because part of that gets paid in between, due to when that bill is due. And I'll explain that. It just always looks funny that we only had that much in food expenses. That is not how that works. That's just the miscellaneous food things. Community, we had $84.12, and the trust was $60, and that is just an expense. The 08 is our scholarship fund, and that was an expense that was needed to be paying something out pretty soon. And so that's what the 08 is. The receipts that came in, at the top it says March, it's actually April's receipts. It's always the month before. I just forgot to change that from the last one. The general fund was $586,841.69. Food service, the receipts that came in was $54,090.78. And community was $1,380.40. Construction was $665,000, and the student activities is $6,238.17. Then the between board claims, that would be from the day after the last board meeting through the day before this one, when I printed checks is what that means. Elementary did not have any claims. Student activities had $1,715.23. The district This one looks high for a reason, I'll explain. It was 1,357,493.22, and that is because we finally paid off all the final construction bills, and so that is done. And with the money that we had come in from the bond, which was in that construction fund of that 665,000, and then that was the remaining. So our investments, the accounts sit at, as of yesterday, liquid assets is at 725,916.25. Finance is the first security account. That one is at 117,415.97 with numerous outstanding checks. Savings 127,314.46. The elementary account is 4,384.16 with just one outstanding check there. Student activities 169,149.12, and that just has one or two outstanding checks as well. And then the final total for the April payroll was 411,226.54.
And the construction fund, is that gonna be zero again? Is that what's left in there now? That's,
That will be zeroed out. So the construction, the 06 there at the top, the receipts,
yep,
that was the bond money that
Yep.
came in.
I just wanna make sure we get everybody clear.
Yep, and then part of our between board claims, that's why it's at that 1 million.
Okay.
It was like,
Yeah, we transferred that into general unassigned funds,
yep, so I
that-
could pay.
That really reflects a deficit minus whatever whatever reserves we have in there, so it will be a deficit of
Yeah.
1 point some million. in unassigned
Yeah,
How
funds.
much finance,
Almost 1.3.
how much finance charge we get charged by that? And was there a lot of finance charges on those bills?
No, almost every company was shockingly gracious.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I wrote a letter.
Yes.
I wrote a letter for Cross Anderson to distribute to contractors saying what the process was we were going through, approximate time where we would receive the funds and deliver those funds, and I think that they kept it at bay.
That's good news.
And then there was one that I discovered that was a double paid, or double charged, and so I contacted that particular company because it was in the final amount that we were supposed to pay, and sure enough, it was error on their end, and
Significant error?
over 93,000.
Good. I mean, not good, but
Not good, but I'm glad I found it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was a long process, and I did a lot of checks and balances, and
Find more of those, Stacy,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
1.5 million more.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be great,
Perfect.
but it really took a lot of time. So let's hope it doesn't happen again. And if you guys have any questions about any other bills, let me know.
When did that bond money come in?
It came in at right after the last meeting,
Okay.
and so that's why it's in, well, it came in April, but it was after
After
the meeting,
okay.
so it wasn't listed on that.
Which is kinda why you're showing it as, on the top line, is 600 yet or what?
Yep, but the receipts are always the month before, because it takes a full month's worth of data. And so, and if by having it right now, there's, constant, there's constant movement of money.
I assume they've cashed their check, most of them have.
There's a couple that haven't,
Okay.
so, yeah, I'm really surprised the majority did right away.
Okay.
And it dropped our finance account, and I'll be watching that closely because I'm trying not to transfer money out of liquid assets until I need to, so that we can get the higher interest rate. So,
Are we gonna need to tap into the line of credit?
right now we're sitting okay, but eventually we
We
might not.
if we do,
We
it'll
might
be
have to.
January, February, March timeframe.
Okay, and then
Yep.
it will be a short period, then we'll, cash flow hits.
And when we chatted with Ellers, it's a possibility, but it's not a highly likely possibility.
Right.
So, I mean, it'll be
It'll
very
be
tight those few months because that's where we're in between payments to state payments, so, and then tax payments.
Was there any other questions for Stacy regarding the finance report? Sounds like it's kind of quiet yet. Otherwise let's see. Everybody else has everything that's attached here for all the board claims and so.
There wasn't anything out of the ordinary that, other than the extra money that I found.
Oh,
That one was,
That's a happy find.
that was a happy find, but I was doubting myself and I emailed them and said, are you sure we owe this? Will you look into this?
Yeah.
So,
other than that, fund summary and all that's in there. Otherwise, we can, is that all you had so far you can think of?
no, nothing,
Okay.
nothing unusual.
All right, otherwise, we move on to Mr. Pack for activities director.
Sure, a couple things just quickly here. Got an update from Springfield. They kind of did a survey with their wrestling pairing and didn't sound like they were willing to continue moving forward with the pairing discussion, which is, I'll say, disappointing from the wrestling side of things for us, but not much else we can do. We tried, a lot of coaches thought we felt like we had a pretty good proposal put together as far as where practice is gonna be, but it has to be a two-way street, so.
Any commentary on the decision? Like they were concerned with having to come over here or?
It was mostly just with their last pairing and the drive time, identity. Just they'd rather be by themselves is basically what their email to us said. They recognize they're not necessarily strong, but their wrestling community supposedly is okay with where they're at.
Okay.
What is our potential wrestling number next year? Get a take a guess at it, Colby?
Well, we graduate 0 seniors, I mean, so we don't lose any hypothetically as long as everybody's back out. And, I don't know what the 6th grade numbers are. So hopefully it's 3 or 4 more than this year.
What was the total this year?
Oh,
Rough
5
estimate?
girls and 12 boys-ish. So,
I know I asked a meeting or two ago, but any other thoughts on potential other pairings for wrestling?
in talking, there's not a whole lot of other options unless we're just gonna get absorbed by someone. Our school to the south, I don't think has any interest in
So that's
talking
the
to.
case, and, you know, if it, worst case, if it comes to that, then they would just have to they just have to go to another.
I mean, yeah, it would take us to go to their wrestling program, but that we would lose all of our identity,
Yeah.
we'd lose our practices.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They might give us 1 or 2 home meets or something, but yeah, that's just currently not where our wrestling club is looking at right now. I'm not saying that we wanna take their coaches and the parents, the stakeholders claim as long as we can. I mean, is it ideal for us? No, but it's not ideal for a lot of schools, but that's just we've been in a healthy competitive pairing before and we liked it and they didn't like their pairing, so. You know, you got Wyndham who's paired with Mountain Lake, they got 50 kids off wrestling, you got Tracy who's paired with West Florida Girls, they got 40 kids off wrestling, so any of those, you know, those are the 2 other schools around us that. And they have good numbers, so I can't imagine they're gonna be looking to drive here for practice and have meets 50-50 or whatever it looks like, so.
That's the downfall with the numbers, you'd probably maybe take them, but they wouldn't give anything back.
Yeah.
Possibly, you know, that's.
So yeah, I mean, I have no doubt we could pair with another school, just that we would be going there
Yeah.
We'd
every
lose.
day for practice, minus 1 or 2 home events, is how I'm gathering it, so. So yeah, I'm definitely disappointed, but it's not much we can do. We feel like Clayton did a good job of putting stuff together, and I thought we had a good productive meeting with their coach and AD, but I don't think it ever got to their board, so, you know, it sounds like their superintendent was pretty opposed to it, so that's all I hear say, so. Spring sports obviously are getting into the postseason. Softball ended their season yesterday at Sleepy Eye. The golfers had round 1 today. The boys finished up this morning. We have 1 boy advancing to the second day, Finn Batalden. Shot 78, so really well. He's in 2nd place overall as an individual right now, so shot really well. The girls are probably getting close to finishing up as we speak, so hopefully we'll have 1 or 2 individuals from the girls' side as well. Move to next week's second day of sections, and then the top 5 individuals make it to state from there, so hopefully we have a good chance there. Baseball actually now has been seated from when I typed this. They're at New Ulm Cathedral tomorrow night, 5 o'clock at Miller Park, so good luck to them. Track starts subsections tomorrow as well at Redwood, and then their sections are at Pipestone next Thursday. And then the trap season's kind of wrapping up soon as well. I think their last week of shooting is this week, and then they have their state tournament kind of the middle of June up in Alexandria. Spring All Conference meeting is tonight for baseball and softball. Golf had theirs last week at Worthington. Finn Batalden and Georgia Brown were named to the All Conference team. Track had 3 All Conference runners. Bowen Hess, Allie Linder, and Amana Smith all were named All Conference, so congrats to all those athletes. Last thing, I know it's kind of been brought up, I think our conference is kind of leaning towards going to $8 and $5 for admission next year, or maybe even 8 and 6. I haven't really talked much about the student side of things. Just with everything, rising costs of everything, that's, MCC went to 8 and 5 this year already. They kind of told us that was what they're doing, so. So we have our August meeting kind of finalizes our conference prices for admission, which doesn't necessarily affect us for home games, because most of our parents have season passes, but for all away games, you have to pay $100. So. And then, the other discussion at our conference stuff is like MCC started charging for baseball and softball games to help alleviate costs this year. So, I'm not saying it's a good thing or bad thing, but so it really only affects the visiting teams. So they're adding money into their school account, but nobody else is, so I know it was a discussion.
Nobody else did it, just them?
Just them, that I, to my knowledge, I mean, so, which I don't know why I don't know why schools have never charged for baseball and softball.
I don't either, my only thought is like there's so few people at those games, then you're paying somebody to sit and take tickets, you know, like.
I mean, you're not losing money, you're paying a ticket taker $40 and you're gonna get 20 of the visiting team's parents, cause your home team parents have a pass.
Yeah,
So
sure.
you're basically, you're getting the money of the opposing team. But you know, like, I mean, for example, Springfield yesterday, they had 50 people there. You know, 50 times $8, that's $400 that you're getting.
Well, we're gonna pay somewhere else.
As opposed to, I'm telling you, the umps and the refs aren't getting cheaper. About every year, probably goes up at least $10 per person, so.
I would assume they'll probably see more schools doing it too.
I wouldn't be surprised, like we charge for the conference track meet now. We hadn't done that in the past, so,
They charging the standard, the 8,
yeah, whatever the conference
okay, that's.
charges, and so, I mean, section baseball, you pay to get into section baseball games, so it's just. I think it's always just been a little harder to charge at a baseball game, but
Mm-hmm.
we do it football games.
Yeah, we do it.
I mean, it's just something to think about. I mean, I'll know more in August at our meeting if anybody else is doing it, but whether we're for or against it, it's just another matter of finding another, why not ticket taker.
At least for the one school.
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
I mean, like any other sport.
yeah.
Right? So,
I didn't think you could just go out on your own and charge it when no one else is.
yeah, I mean, they were very
That's
upfront.
ticket
Their,
taker when I was there.
yeah, their board made that decision just from a financial, they were kind of in financial hurt, so they made the certain things. I'll say like RTR has made the decision next year, they're not transporting like between towns, like for practices at the end, like, so like our late bus, for example, they're not doing that next year. It's like their schools in Tyler, if they have junior high baseball in Russell, for example, the kids gotta get they gotta get to Russell.
Yeah, I hate that.
You know, so yeah, so I'm just saying, like, other schools are finding other ways to try and like alleviate some costs, so it's, I mean, that was probably MCC's way of doing it, which makes more sense than not transporting your kids to a sporting event.
Yeah,
So, but there are, other schools are doing those types of things, cause everybody's in the same situation, trying to find.
Transporting it just turns into a safety issue, and I'd be against doing something like
the
that.
transporting thing is creating a barrier for
And
kids to try to
I might be
participate.
wrong, I think it might have been like getting the kids from practice, so they might get them to practice, but they gotta get picked up from practice. I don't know. It was just
Still, think some kids say don't go out for a sport
We
game.
have such a wide span of location to that.
and I know we used to, from the sounds that we used to have a minimum for our late bus,
I think so.
and now we don't.
Was there
If we have
maybe
one
6
kid sign
people
up,
or something? Yeah,
if we have one kid sign up, we bring him home. And the late bus cost is, it's not like an hourly rate, it's $45 for a late bus. So for a late bus driver, it makes $45 whether they make the round trip or drive one kid to Sanborn.
So that allows students that wouldn't normally be able to participate.
That's
Yeah,
where
I'm
I'm
not saying it's
at,
a bad,
but to
I'm
me,
just
that's just,
saying that's.
I would never want that to be a
Barrier.
roadblock.
Yeah, that's, other than, without questions, that's all I have.
Okay. Well, it's COVID, but this week after, I guess it's been busy, so. If that's all you have, we can move on to our superintendent and principal report. And we'll start with the board finance report, is that what you're?
Well, I first like to just make a comment. I wanted to say how much I appreciate Tar coming in this year, doing some training, just helping us streamline things. It was a pleasure to have Kathy in our building often. I do want to compliment our kitchen crew. When I came here, I just had some few changes. I asked them if they'd implement, they did that and embraced it, and it's been a pleasure. I've really grown to enjoy working with them. I've enjoyed taking orders and direction from Bonnie and her telling me exactly what to do every day. But I think I've developed a great relationship with them, and I really support them. I don't eat school lunch much, because when I do, it's usually a lot of food and I go into a food coma afterwards. But I have appreciated everything they've done, and I want to thank them for that publicly. Then, I'll pull up the finance report and kind of go over a few things here. This finance report is what Jordan generates for us every month. Just go into it's kind of the same look every year. We talk about where total cash and cash equivalents as of April. As you can see, there's a huge dip there. A lot of that had to do with the construction costs coming in, paying it off. If we go down to, and I think it's important we really need to delineate what is what. We talk about general fund, and if you look at our overall general fund, it looks like we have a pretty good surplus in there. But the reason behind that is that's split out. So what we need to focus on when we look at what our cash flow is that unassigned fund. So I think Jordan called them gift cards, something to that effect. So we have a variety of different things. LTFM only spent on repairs and maintenance of the building. Food service is only food service. I mean, these funds that are enrolled, kind of enveloped in there. Professional development can only, unassigned funds are the only funds that we can use for general purpose. And that includes when we pay our employees. That comes out of general fund unassigned. So when we look at the greater scheme of things, our deficit in general fund unassigned is $1 point some million at the end of the school year. And that's because we had you're technically not supposed to carry a negative balance in your construction budget. So that was rolled over into general unassigned, which is where it's supposed to go. So that just zeroed out our fund 6 is construction. Now we have that deficit. We do have a plan to pay that off. Luckily, we paid contractors off, and I appreciate their patience, because for some of them, I know that was tough, especially the local guys. They're really depending on that. But that's where we're at. So working that plan, we will, at the end of this fiscal year, I'm not sure if it'll happen after our audit is completed, and the audit is also submitted to the state. If the state will determine SOD at that time, or if they look at our end of year finances and they begin that decision July 1st. But we are substantially over. We will be going to statutory operating debt at least next fiscal year, if not halfway through. I'm not 100% sure when they make that determination, but that's something we're preparing for now, because what's going to happen is the state's going to require us to develop a plan, a long range plan for how we're going to cut costs, how we're going to streamline our spending, how we're going to collect revenue. So if you look at that next page that I have up there, what determines SOD is your expense to prior year revenue ratio, prior year reserve ratio. Anything below 2.5 puts you into SOD. We will actually be a negative 16.43%. So we're not just an SOD. We're going to do things right at Red Rock Central. We're going to do them right. Really.
So does the board understand, even though we're at 1.1 million short on the unassigned, you would think we'd have to have 1.1 million borrowed. But basically, if I'm correct on this, Tim, you got all these other accounts. You got LTFM, you got the student activities fund, you got your food service fund. It's one big checking account. So what we're doing is this unassigned is just basically getting a free loan out of those other accounts to finance the school. So at the end of the day, this unassigned fund balance is the one we gotta get fixed. Cause the other accounts are healthy, it's this one.
I wouldn't say we borrow it from the other accounts.
Well, your, one checking account basically.
One checking account, but in there, is if you look at the left side, those are fund codes, so each has their own fund code. Like for instance, operating capital, we pull from operating capital into unassigned, but if we look at learning and development, that can only be used for a specific thing. If we look for gifted and talent, it's very specific. Compensatory is revenue that we get from the state, which may go up slightly, but I looked at how much Red Rock Central will be getting from that increase after legislative session, it's only $11,000, so not substantial. They did increase compensatory 2 legislative sessions ago, it was a pretty good increase, but that's not gonna happen yet.
Troy, I think I understand what you're trying to say though, because when that construction debt rolled over, we did have to pay it out of the unassigned.
Correct.
So that did shift, I mean, I get what you're saying,
Yep.
like, we did essentially pay for construction.
Everything's in its
out
own
of-
account, but at the end of
Right.
the day, we have a negative, but we're.
So when you look at the overall, so I see what you're saying now, when you look at the overall balance, it looks like we have a pretty healthy balance, or at least not a very large deficit, cause if you get down to the bottom, net general plus construction, it only shows a deficit of 73,000. But that's because we're adding all those other strict assigned funds in there. Look at LTFM, 567,000. With exception of a few expenses here and there, we're not gonna use that for a while.
We can't touch it.
We can't touch it except for repair and maintenance. And
So some of these other accounts that are negative, are we able to zero them out into the year, do we, and then put it right into back in unassigned, or do they stay negative, or when do we?
Well, a lot of those have to stay exactly where they are, so they won't be negative once the new fiscal year starts. And Jordan and I haven't met, he can pull invoices directly and look why we're negative in those, but they'll be zeroed out and then we won't be negative. And some of them have been carrying negative for a while at the same time.
But Jordan will get that thing back to zero,
Yes.
and move the dollars where they need to be.
Yes. So in a nutshell, even though it doesn't look as bad as it is, again, our focus has to be on that unassigned. As you can see, the grade area, I'm a colorblind, so I'm going to say that's gray regardless of what color it is. So we're looking at this month, ending the month at 1.1 million. I'm sure it'll go down a bit after that.
That fund we can't steal from any other funds to fix that fund, that's the problem. And that's when it pays their supplies, or heat, or electric bill, payroll.
So again, there's the budget to actual comparison, just showing what the majority of our money is spent on, where it comes from. Again, showing food service balance, still very strong. We still need to pay it down because we're only supposed to maintain just about a little over 122,000. Just like all the other districts. So I'm very worried about this. We're being compensated from the state now for meals. With the things that are going on in the state right now, we're talking about fraud. I'm afraid we're gonna be audited eventually. We were audited for special ed funding this year, so I think that's just around the corner and all districts will be funded, or they're gonna make the stipulation so stringent, it's just gonna be a pain for us to get through, accounting for that. But we still have funds in there to spend down, they say spend it on new kitchen equipment. That's kinda hard.
A new salad bar perhaps.
Well, and we've talked about that, we're working on that, actually, Bonnie and the girls have done some research and they've found a few models and we're gonna see what fits, and that's something we'll purchase over the summer, and they could be the Taj Mahal with that kind of money.
Yeah.
Actually automated, cuts the vegetables itself, restocks it. We'll see. Again, looking at general fund, general education revenue, we're up right now, but when you look at expenses down, general unassigned balance, there you can see that $107,000 is going to be a wash, looking at the $1.some million deficit. Special education revenue is fairly steady. Salary and benefits is just showing generally where funding goes for those. And then that's it for that. Any questions about that?
I guess we were,
But,
just thinking, we were looking at the plan and everything, cause when we got the deadline for the fall, I guess we're looking at any levy or operating, when's that deadline to when we need to start planning for that
So essentially, the board will have to pass a resolution in August.
in August?
We'll move forward with it. And I think what we'll do this summer is just start getting a communication campaign together, meeting with stakeholders and community forums. We can talk about what we've done. We've been planning this out as we've gone along too. And then we can, my suggestion is before we spend the money on a referendum, which is gonna cost us, I would say $5,000 to $10,000 to push forward with a referendum. I think the best thing is to do a perception survey. And see, and usually with a perception survey, when it comes to referendum, you're not asking, will you give us more money, you're asking, what do you feel comfortable with?
So when you say it costs us 5 to 10, that still costs us that much on an election year?
Yes, yep, just because we have to purchase ballots, we have to do advertising, there's quite a few things involved in it.
Well, won't that be on the general ballot?
It'll be on the general ballot, but we actually have to pay to get on the general ballot. Yeah, I've done referendums on the general election and outside the general election. And the worst is when you're doing a operated levy referendum outside the general election, because then it has to be mail-in only, and that costs $20,000. So, I mean, we'd be getting off easy with 5 or 10.
So we have to get it right the first time.
And that's
Hopefully.
where that perception survey, I would even suggest when you get to that point, there's a company called School Perceptions. We have one in the state called Wrap Industries that can help with that. I think before we spend the money, you get kind of the perception of the community. Are you willing to give more money? I've done that. I did it in North Dakota with a referendum, and we found out, and there you need to have supermajority. You need to have 60% to pass a bond referendum. In the perception survey, we got less than that, so we decided not to spend the money. I mean, I think that would be a good next step. Because I would hate to spend money to take it out of the money we already don't have for something that is probably determined to not pass.
I can't remember how much is the perception, how much of those usually run the perception survey?
It depends. I would probably, School Perceptions, I've worked with them a few times. I work with Wrap Industries too. I have a good relationship with the owner of that company. They actually work with our co-op, so we would get a reduced amount. I would balance those and see what's the best course to go.
When, I know you're saying August, you get an idea, but it sure be nice to get a rough idea. Are we talking $200, $400, $1,000?
Oh, we would do that
I mean,
before.
it'd be nice for us to have an idea here, kind of what we kind of need to go with, just so the board, we can have an idea pretty soon of how many dollars we need to generate.
I would say we would move forward with that, the perception survey, at least in June.
Okay.
The board has to pass, if the board decides to move forward, they have to pass a resolution in August. And there's a whole timeline for how we do all of that. Kaylee is our election official. I'm sure she's not happy to hear me say that in the public meeting, because it's a lot of work. And I can help her with that. I've been through quite a few. But, you know, the board would have to make that final decision in August to go forward. But we can definitely do the survey well before that.
That's important to know moving forward. If anybody be willing to pay more to support us or not.
When, at what level too, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the most important parts is at what level.
What level? That was. How far down are you on here?
I haven't even touched it yet. But a couple other things, and that's okay. We can kind of jump around. I just wanna present the school board. I know I did email this out before, but candidates for graduation, we have 30 that are graduating, so all our seniors are graduating. Thank you, Betsy, because I don't know how you kept your patience during practice the other day, but you did. And you very politely kept your patience. Mr. Pack and I can both see some goofing off, but did a good job. So looking forward to that Friday night. I'm sure these guys are as well.
Excited to be done.
Yeah, I keep telling them, keep it up, because once you're gone, you're gonna think, man, for so many years, I could have done things different. I enjoyed it more. I do have the student activities accounts updated in there. I have this, and when we get down to student activities discussion, I'll go over this a little bit more. So this is actually a statute through UFARS. So UFARS is Uniform Financial Accounting Reporting Standards. go through that. Now I'm gonna run through my report, and if you have any questions as we go through, just let me know, please. So for schools, we do have we're at the point where we have a resolution tonight for the board to take action on, approving moving forward with saving money on electricity. The statement has also been published in the Lamerton News accordingly. So very excited about that. I'm not sure when construction will happen, but my guess is not too not too far off. I got information about student activities accounts, construction contractor payouts. I gotta just praise Stacy again because of her extreme oversight, just really analyzing things. We did say that $96,000 due to quit billing. That $96,000 went right back to the general fund. Unfortunately, got sucked right back up by the deficit in there. But that's $96,000 we don't need to worry about paying off. So I want to thank Stacy for that. That was a great catch, and she just really analyzed and said something doesn't seem right. She followed up on it painstakingly and did great for us.
So I had a question on the solar.
Yes.
So we're getting close to doing something. What is the total cost gonna cost us to put it in?
For us as a district, nothing. It's all grant funding. So the grant is going to be, the max amount will be $400,000.
So does that be the same as the cost of the solar, or does that include installation, hooked up with electrical?
Everything. It includes everything. It includes connecting to our current mainframe. It includes the materials, everything. So we will pay nothing for this.
Zero charge, okay. It's kind of a nice grant. To have a grant wrote that way where it covers the electrical and the installation, that's huge.
And I would say I did a portion of the grant writing, but I worked with our company we've been working with. And I mean, they work with districts throughout the state on this. So I basically answered the questions they need answered and then submit that grant.
And that has to be going on the roof, you said?
Going on the roof, it doesn't, it actually doesn't get secured into the roof, so it won't, it won't.
Won't affect.
Nope, it won't affect the integrity of the roof. They're actually just weighted down. I know several other districts, so some things I'm waiting to see. We don't have an electric bus, and I haven't proposed that because I just don't think that would be good. Because I've heard from other districts. I know other districts and colleagues of mine that have put solar in, and my goal was to wait to see how effective it was and still free for them, and they're loving it because those costs. I mean, we pay sometimes $15,000 a month on electrical bills. So that's gonna be a huge savings for us.
Do they think it'll cover 100% electrical or 50%?
Close to 100%.
And if there's overage, does that go back on the grid then?
That I don't know.
Okay, maybe once we get to that point,
Yeah.
if we are long, well then electric does make sense for whether it's some vehicle.
Yeah, because it could become a community savings as well.
I think that usually it goes back on the grid and then like they give you credit. If you need more 1 month, they just give you credit on your bill or whatever. Usually it's how that stuff
Yeah,
works.
so once we have the installation that's up and running, we'll ask for an energy audit of the building as well. So we'll call our electric company. They'll do that and we can get credits just for our lighting. You know, there's a variety of things we'll get credit for. It'll be cost savings over time. Not huge, but it'll be something.
Was that going through?
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
No problem. Like I said, so I made sure it wasn't a failure for other people. And then just a legislative update, there is a webinar I'll be attending on 26th. There's another one, so that's with my organization, MASA. Then I think MRA has one coming up too. I'll participate in that just to hear. Not a lot is done at our superintendent's meeting this morning. Gary Lee he spoke about it. There's not a lot. Don't expect a lot of extra money. It's an election year. So typically you see more policy work than you do see finance work. So not a lot for public education.
Any interest in policy that's gonna impact us? And you know,
No, not really. There were a few in there I was hoping would, to the better, but they never made it to the floor. Typically, I go to the Capitol and I meet with legislators. We do that with our region and MSBA, and I go up there and meet with them and we testify individually with them. This year, it didn't work out for things going on in the district that I stuck around for. But hopefully next time I'll have that opportunity.
There's just a lot there, but like you said, it's an election year, so there's gonna be a lot of
I was
talk.
curious if the cell phone thing gained any more traction,
The way.
the cell phones.
Policy.
No, and I don't think it ever will. And here's why.
Really?
Well, here's why. If you look at the way that was presented, I think it's a great concept, but it took local control away.
Mm-hmm.
It should be the discretion of the school district. Another thing, when it initially hit the floor, it said principals have the discretion to make the decision whether or not to let people have cell phones. Well, I mean, if you had multiple buildings, that would be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
If you have turnover in administration, that would be an issue. There's no consistency. So that's one of the reasons it died. I testified on that last time and told them how successful it was in my last district. I kept stating that you need to let this be a school board decision and not a state decision because the districts aren't the same. And policing this in one area, like when we were at the school board conference, they said, well, we've done this. And I asked the question, how many violations do you have? Well, we have one today and we have, it doesn't stop it.
Yeah.
But it gives some teeth. But it should be a school board decision, not a state decision.
That we can talk to everybody in the building, the staff, and how the thing works, where
Exactly.
they don't know how it's going on in our buildings.
First step is develop a plan with staff. Because I don't think teachers should have an extra battle to fight in their classrooms, and cell phones are definitely that. I can understand when they get tired and frustrated dealing with it. That's why I work with teachers, create a plan, how we move this forward, what does it look like, take it to the school board, educate the school board on the process, and then have the school board take action, and then it's policy after that.
Any other questions for Dr. Godfrey? Not hear anything, so I guess we can move on to our consent agenda. For none here, we're gonna be moving to approve monthly bills and the minutes from the regular meeting on April 15th and the special meeting on this, that was on May 6th. Then contract approvals, which, was there contract approvals listed?
There are not, there will be.
Be June, okay, and then the resignation retirements earlier, that we did the last meeting, still on.
Not since this point, since last time.
Yep. Anyways, do we have a motion to approve our consent agenda?
Can we just eliminate those two items then, or do they gotta stay in there?
I would leave them in there.
Okay.
because Consent agenda items are normal items you discuss per meeting. So there will be people in there.
Eventually,
Yeah.
sure. Maybe we could just add like none at this time or something.
Yeah,
I can do that. None at this time.
Well, I don't know, it seems like if you're gonna put it in there, you should clarify.
at this time. We discussed those earlier in another meeting, so.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Brian?
I'll second.
Megan seconds. Any other questions or comments regarding the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor to approve our consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, approve our consent agenda, monthly bills and the minutes, and none at this time, resignations or retirements.
That was fun saying it.
Yeah.
I think I'll just do that, like the call, none at this time.
We'll move forward on our recognitions, and this is everybody's favorite part here. Is
Before you
mine.
start, Mr. Chair, if you look at this, I just wanna, we have to thank our community, our PTA, and all these people involved, because my gosh, the donations to our district for the various things is just phenomenal. And it shows a lot of generosity and how much our community really loves our district.
I just wanna make sure, is this the current list here? I thought I just seen another list further down the donations.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
So I'll begin here. Recognitions for donations, we have a resolution accepting donations and grants. Whereas Minnesota State Statutes 123B and 02 subdivision 6 provides the board may receive for the benefit of the district bequest donations or gifts for any proper purpose and apply the same to the purpose designated. In that behalf, the board may act as a trustee of any trust created to provide pupils of the district with advanced education after completion of high school and advancement of education. And whereas Minnesota State Statutes 465.03 provides any city, county, school district, or town may accept a grant or device of real or personal property and maintain such property for the benefit of its citizen in accordance with the terms prescribed by the donor. Nothing herein shall authorize such acceptance or use for religious or sectarian purposes. Every such acceptance shall be by resolution of the governing body adopted by 2/3 majority of its members expressing such terms in full. And whereas every such acceptance shall be by resolution of the governing body adopted by 2/3 majority of its members expressing such terms in full. Therefore, be it resolved that the school board of Red Rock Central District number 2884 gratefully accepts the following donations as identified below here. We have Meadowland for $1,500 for the purpose of the video board. Curtis Matson, $400 towards Red Rock Central softball. And was there another note here for book fair to go towards teacher classrooms?
That goes to the next one, James.
That's the next one with James. Okay, so James Raines. There was kind of, it's worded here. I want to be clear. James Raines has the book fair for $951.81 for the books. MDHA Sunrise Chapter, $300 towards Trap Shoot. Red Rock Chiropractic Center, $2,000 to the video board. Red Rock Central PTA, $430.24 towards custodial carts. Russ and Annie Runk, $335 for FFA. And that's the end of the list for this month, which is a big list again, so we appreciate that. But all in favor to accept the donations? Yeah, we have we do roll call.
Erickson, yes.
Warner, yes.
Erickson, yes.
Grant, yes.
Imker, yes?
And Theo, yes?
I don't need a motion on it.
Okay, I guess I've always been getting the motion seconds and then.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Okay. We'll maybe stick with our same habits here and then do the finalized
Yep.
resolution.
I'll second it then.
I'll be quiet.
Okay. Megan and Troy, is there any other questions on that? Otherwise, we did our roll call vote already, so. That was done, the vote was adopted by resolution as it followed, all in majority, and whereupon said resolution was declared duly adopted by us. So. Next order of business would be our. Let's see, we get the right language here, so. We have a censor, and we were gonna bring that up forward with regarding the letter. And when it come to my attention, I had a good discussion with Bruce on the allegations, and he was forthcoming and upright and on that, and it was, I guess to be clear, from my understanding, emotions led his, I guess, better judgment. I don't know if that's fair to say, but and it was a tough thing to do here, but I guess whereas the school board received complaints regarding a letter that was being circulated at the district's.
Have a member to introduce first.
Okay. Then we would have a member, we'd introduce the following resolutions and move its adoption. Would we have anybody willing to introduce the following resolution? Otherwise,
I'll introduce it, but I'd like to say a little something first, because we've sat with this information for a little bit, so. I wrote this down so I don't forget anything. As a senior parent, we have 5 of them on the board this year. I can understand the frustration with how certain things were handled this year. We can all empathize with that. I have felt some of those frustrations myself. I know you have, I know we all have. At the end of the day, as a parent, as adults, and especially as school board members, we have the responsibility to exercise restraint and model professionalism for our kids. I'm grateful that the issue was discovered beforehand so that the solution could be addressed. and the risk mitigated before it had the chance to overshadow an important milestone for these kids, once in a lifetime. As parents, it's our responsibility to guide and teach and lead by example. For all of us in this district, we need to remember that anger cannot be met with more anger. Hate breeds more hate. And through all of this, our kids are watching. Sorry. They're watching how adults handle conflict, disappointment, and frustration. They're watching whether we choose division, accountability, or escalation, or restraint. As school board members, we take an oath to serve objectively and to carry out this role to the best of our judgment and ability. It's literally what the oath says. That responsibility does not disappear when emotions run high. In fact, that's when it matters the most. I want to apologize on behalf of the board to anybody who was impacted. It's important to make clear that the board as a whole had no participation in this issue. Over the last 2 years, we've talked extensively about accountability, about the importance of holding people responsible for their actions regardless of their position, title, circumstance, how many years they've been here. This situation should be no different. And while I can understand the frustration that led to this decision, it was wrong and accountability matters. So with that being said, I will make the motion to move forward with censuring Board Member Grant.
And I guess to follow our habits here, I guess we can pull a second and we can go back through and do a resolution vote.
I'd like to second, but I'd like to, first of all, I haven't seen what was else Brett wrote. I've heard bits and pieces, but I would like to apologize also to everybody. But I haven't seen it all, but I will make that second.
As listed here, Member Megan and Troy seconds introduced the following resolution and moved its adoption. I guess the censor, I'll read this before we move through with the resolution vote. Resolution censuring a member of the Board of Education. Whereas the school board received complaints regarding a letter that was being circulated at the district's high school regarding the upcoming graduation and the senior class song. Whereas Board Chair Tom Keel reviewed the contents of the letter and met with Board Member Bruce Grant regarding the same. And whereas during that meeting, Board Member Grant acknowledged that he authored the letter. And whereas the letter included statements critical of district staff and encouraged non-participation by senior students in certain graduation ceremony activities. And whereas the school board finds that such conduct, when undertaken by an individual board member, has the potential to create confusion regarding whether such statements or directions reflect official board action and to interfere with the orderly administration of school-sponsored events. Whereas the school board policy 209, which is the code of ethics, provides that individual board members recognize that authority rests with the school board acting as a body. Board members shall focus on policy rather than implementation, and board members shall not take private action that may compromise the school board or the administration. And whereas school board member Grant has indicated his willingness to accept the censure and to issue an apology to the school board and the school district community. Now therefore be it resolved by the School Board of Education of Red Rock Central 2884 as followed. School board formally censures board member Grant for authoring the letter described above and for engaging in conduct that was inconsistent with the board's role in providing governance and oversight rather than directing or influencing operational matters or student activities. The school board clarifies that the statements contained in the letter do not reflect official board action, policy, or direction and should not be interpreted as such. The school board acknowledges board member Grant's stated intent to issue an apology to the school board and the school district community and encourages a continued focus on maintaining effective governance, mutual respect, and appropriate roles in support of district operations. And like I said, as said before, the motion is adopted. The foregoing resolution was duly seconded by Troy, and upon a roll call vote, which we shall do. Yes, we'll move around with roll call vote. All in favor for the motion of censorship?
Erickson, yes.
Warner, yes.
Erickson, yes.
Imker, yes.
Keel, yes. As followed there was no negatives, so whereupon the said resolution was declared duly passed and adopted. Then I can turn this over. I don't know if Bruce did you have something you wanted to speak of on your behalf?
I do.
I appreciate you taking accountability.
I am glad that we're all here tonight so I can accept full responsibility of what I did. A lot of my brain space has been occupied processing everything that happened a few weeks ago. To my fellow school board members, my actions crossed the line spelled out on the MSB website as far as school board member ethics. A few years ago, before being elected, I cited that same information when at a board meeting, I asked that a board member be held accountable for their comments regarding space for everyone in the old school and if it mattered, when contemplating closing the Jeffers School. What we got from that was a form letter apology in the newspaper. I should have known this could be the outcome for my choice. I deserve the decision and action that you've taken tonight. To Mrs. Hubert and her family, I apologize for the comments directed towards you as far as this class trip. I don't know the full context of everything happening at that time. It is unfair to make judgment based on just pieces of information. The full body of your time here and the many things that you have done and the lives you've impacted should be what's remembered. Also to Miss Derrickson and Mrs. Derrickson and your family here tonight as well, I apologize for the comments that were directed towards you as well. I've always thought that this board should be made up of people with kids in the school. I still believe that, but it certainly comes with its added challenges. This school is here for everyone that chooses to come here. If the public has questions and concerns about anything regarding things happening in this building, it needs to get communicated through proper channels using the communication chain outlined on the school's website. And when that process happens, if action is needed, those involved need to let due process take place, just as it is tonight.
Thanks, Bruce. I think that goes a long way to move forward and accepting your accountability. I appreciate that. Then we can move on to our old business. I hit the right button.
Just click on that.
Which I think we were gonna talk about the student activities. We asked you to look into the student activity funds.
Sure, so on there right now, you have the totals that are left in their accounts. The board did task me with doing some research on what these funds can be used for, so I pulled out from the UFAR's manual, and I'll go through that. And this is public, a public document, so if anybody wants to go look, I highlighted the sections in question, so if you just kind of scroll down, you can see the highlights in here, and I'll go to that spot and kind of go over that. Alright, donations to student activities. So, my guess is this came about because we did have parents saying, well, why can't we donate this money to the students? We donate it to a variety of different things. So you'll see in there, the statute requires the board to approve all donations. Student activity accounts may accept donations pending final approval of the board. Only the board may accept donations of equipment and non-cash items. Upon acceptance, the equipment or non-cash items become the property of the district. At no time may a district employee or student assign, apply, or state a value to an in-kind or non-cash donation. So basically what it says, a donation is an incoming. A donation is the gifting of something. We're talking about a variety of things. So it's separating what a donation is and fundraising. A donation is an in-kind. I'm giving you something. Fundraising must be approved prior to that. Fundraising is not allowed for the direct benefit of an individual or family. So we're talking about, well, can we give this money to students as a scholarship? That was done one time during COVID, and I do believe that's because they collected funds at the beginning of the year, but then when schools closed and went to online learning, there's no use of it. So the state made that direction. That was a one-time thing. Student activity, the student's activity may plan, organize, and participate in the fundraising activity. However, the student cannot accept donations on behalf of the individuals or families. Fundraising projects encompass a wide range of activities, including an element to sale of food items, sponsor of dances and entertainment, out-of-school sales of advertisements, gift items, magazines, and car washes. The district and school personnel must make several donations, including, and there you have those. Negative balances, no individual student activity account can have a negative balance at the end of the fiscal year. So typically when you close out student activities, if there is a fund that has a negative balance, you'll roll money into that from other student activity, and the board would have to make that decision. Appropriate expenditures, this is where we kind of get down to the nitty-gritty of it. Appropriate expenditures for student activity accounts include but are not limited to the following: admission, participation fees, entertainment for specific student activity events, DJ for prom, food, lodging, supplies and materials, clothing for students, transportation, travel expenditures. Inappropriate expenditures would be assemblies not representative of the student activity, employee compensation, gifts or awards, faculty meetings or events, labor or service payments, library books, office supplies, office or school furniture, textbooks, gift cards, gift certificates, field trips are curricular in nature, meaning they don't relate to that student activity, scholarships, personal items for coaches, advisors, and other members, and then donations. Appropriate donations should meet the mission and vision of the student activity, determined by students, and may include but are not limited to donations that the student activity determines. After the students have received, realize the surplus fund balance. See donations that students have predetermined to raise funds for. Inappropriate are donations to individuals, donations to religious activities, booster clubs, parent-teacher organizations, school foundations, and scholarship funds. Student activity accounts cannot donate or make payments to faculty, staff, individual documents, or any individual person. I think that might be. So there was a question about where these funds go. So typically it's been the procedure that they just roll into, like senior funds will roll into the junior funds, who will be used in next year's seniors, and the board said, well, what are their other options? So I did find out through our business manager, so that every student activity creates a purpose form at the beginning of the year. And that purpose form states what the activity is, what the funds will be used for, and what the particular activities are, and if on that form they must designate where they want it to go to. Once the activity ends for the year. Jordan did say if it's not designated, those funds go back into the general fund. So say seniors, whatever is left in their account goes back in the general fund, and then the board determines where that money goes from there. So with that being said, I mean the board would on those purpose statements, I did not see, I looked at all of them. I did not see any designation of where those funds go, and maybe they'll do that in the future, I'm not sure. So at this point, because of that, as we close out, those funds go back into the general fund, and the board will determine where they go from there. Regardless of what the board decides, I would say any of the activities, and I'll go through those.
Hold on a second, so
Yep.
basically what you're saying in a nutshell is, there is no way by law that that money can be passed on to a sibling or another student.
Correct, because it would be a gift,
Okay,
yes. It could be passed on to a different activity, but nobody specifically in that activity. And I just want to,
Being they didn't do it at the beginning of the year, they can't.
it has to be on that purpose statement.
At the beginning of the year,
By law, yes, when they fill it out at the beginning of the year. Again, they may elect to do that going forward from this point. I want to go back to, right here, these are the totals. I would like to just caution the board that if you do make decisions, so all these funds are gonna go back to the general fund, but they're going to be acknowledged in the general fund that they belong to these different activities. I would encourage the board, whatever you decide to do, and I know in particular is class of 2026, please don't touch any other activities. Don't make a decision, let's just keep those in those accounts, because everybody worked hard to raise the money. People donate the money for a particular purpose, whether it's a student activity or something for the building. I ask the board and implore the board to, anything else when you're making those decisions, just leave the other activities as they are, because they will use those funds and they'll need them in the future.
what are you talking about?
So, right here we have all of the accounts.
Yeah.
So I know the board, there was a lot of curiosity, so what do we do?
Or,
Yep, I just felt that it was, the best
Yeah.
interest of the district just to
Yeah.
make that statement.
so Jake had brought up in our work session, potentially leaving a class of 2026 like class fund open, and I believe that used to happen at one point. Like, it must have, because we paid for our first class reunion out of our class funds, and like memorials, things like that.
not in the district no more. Enrolled, so I don't know how you,
I don't know how they could.
I don't know how you could do that.
We did,
I know they did, I don't know.
we did.
I don't know, I don't think.
Just looking at the UFARs, I don't know if that's completely legit.
Okay,
Because class of 2026, after this year, that activity, some of those will be expended, because I'm pretty sure they still have payments for prom, for graduation, or their senior banquet,
Yeah.
those things. So there's some of
Yeah.
those funds that are still gonna be paid
Yeah.
down.
So then it goes back into the general fund, and it goes back into some of these accounts, or goes back to the unassigned?
Traditionally, it's gone back in the general fund and then has gone into the next class, the junior class fund, who will be seniors next year. So typically, once the year's closed out, everything goes back in the general fund. Class of 2026 leftover funds would go into class of 2027's account. And I'm not sure how long it is, I can say, my last district, we did the same thing.
yeah, I don't like that,
Okay.
I don't like that.
Good.
I just don't feel like it should just roll over to the next class, and, I mean, what's their incentivization, like, they don't have to do as much then.
And that's just those classes' decision. to
And
let
then
it
what
go.
about the many classes that went before them that never had a class pass down funds to them, so then those classes just kinda get a,
We're
Free little
we're hanging our hands
boost.
tied because of the rules, is what,
yeah, but if it goes into the general fund, we could still designate to split it evenly amongst all of the activities,
we could, yes. Yeah.
right? Am I understanding that right?
Yes. The board would have to make that decision, take action on it. So it'd be a transfer of funds, student activity funds.
So ideally, if this were ever to happen, you would wanna know from the students where they would prefer to see that go instead of splitting it evenly.
That would have to be a board decision. That would, a determination, I don't know if you talk with that class, again, I'm used to it just rolling into the next class.
Because normally we're not talking this many dollars either, are we?
No.
Right,
Right, I mean, normally that's what happens, you get that, but normally they wouldn't be this kind of an amount because.
Right.
Well, that amount is gonna be decreased, I think Kaylee's estimated probably by about $5,000. just because of paying for those.
Does it go down
expenses.
5,000 or to 5,000?
Down 5,000. So it'll go down to 2,000 something after paying those expenses. I don't know what that exact dollar amount is till those expenses are paid.
So like the kids that sell a lot of fundraising stuff and work concession stands all the time, they're paying a bigger percent for prom, for the DJ for prom than the kid that doesn't work at all? Is that how that works? The money all just goes into the senior class and then the DJ
Yeah,
just
see,
comes
that's what I'm
out of-
saying, like, what is the
Why would you
incentive
do
to even do
fundraising?
that then?
Or work
Why,
any concession stands?
exactly, why would you ever take your time?
That is a whole screwed up system, like it's terrible.
I hate to say it, it's kinda
That's just how it is, I get it,
everywhere,
but,
yeah.
but that's just,
Try to raise them to not be that way.
And
I
I
don't-
would say it probably differs from year to year. You'll have some years, you'll have a strong senior class that will raise exorbitant amount of funds. Raise $30,000. And then I've had one that just didn't want to do anything. You know, and unfortunately, the weight's borne on a few people's backs from time to time. But you're right, there's no incentive then for anyone. That's why, I mean, we need to encourage them and can't make it mandatory, but we need to encourage them.
So it comes like the prom, does that all come out of the seniors or does any juniors pay for any of that?
It'll be both.
Well, but then, is there some funds out, it's a lot of the concessions goes over to the class fund, I can't remember how that works, it's this concession line item, that's good for, that's where it should be. There's nothing else coming out of there to go to the classes or.
Yeah, I mean, it's, like, you sign up for junior and seniors are working concessions versus, like, the other,
whatever.
yeah.
Like trap sold concessions, different groups sell concessions.
So right now, the
Baseball.
concessions number is where it needs to be for like startup, I mean, everything that's been taken out of there is.
Well, our new
Stuff has-
concessions coordinator will make that determination.
Uh-huh.
Are they gonna heap the loads on them, so.
All I know is this should never be an issue. Like, moving forward, we just need to ensure that this isn't a issue. The other thing that I have that's just a topic for another time is we had one student who fundraised at a very aggressive level, tried to do as much as he could and fundraised less than half of the cost of that trip. So like, either we need to, ideally, you would have a trip that through fundraising efforts, even if you do it at the highest level, every kid has the opportunity to offset the entire cost. So I don't know what we do there. Everything is expensive, but we gotta get a little more creative.
Getting that class trip set up and getting a set destination year over
Or
year.
starting earlier.
Starting early and get these kids should know ahead of time where they're going, as we can book stuff ahead of time at discounted rate. The closer you get, the more expensive it gets.
Yeah,
I think we just, I think that needs to be brought up in a work session and brought in the boardroom and getting a policy on this class trip. And then the kids will know ahead of time. I know WWG has a set policy.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think.
They also
we
run
gotta
their
fix- we
concessions
gotta
a little
fix the
very
broken-
differently than we
What's
do.
that?
Like, they run their concessions very, very like that all is their fundraising kind of method for their class trip, where our organization, or sports accounts or whoever all benefit from that too. So there is a pro and a con there.
But the kids need to know how much money they're gonna need to raise.
Yeah.
So,
Or save.
yep. So we need to fix that broken thing, right, in the very near future.
I think we're looking at it all like this year with hindsight, at the beginning. And so we gotta remember, we're looking at it with hindsight where we have to, moving forward, we have to make sure we take this hindsight we're using now and keep on it so we can make something good out of this all too.
Exactly.
It's hard to,
I would say if there's 16 or 17, just give them each 7% or whatever it comes out to and put a little money in all the accounts. I don't know how else to do it.
I think it's too late to get the students' opinions, although that
I
would have been
agree.
ideal.
I agree.
give them a survey sheet of.
They don't have any computers.
No.
You can mail it to them at their,
It's true.
put it in their.
They don't answer the emails when they're here. And I will say, they're probably doing a county nightmare. meaning, you know, it'll probably take quite a bit of time and we'll be closing out in another month and a half, we're starting to close out. I
Well,
think,
can we wait to move it until after the fiscal year?
it'll go right in, it'll go into the general fund right away. I mean, it can stay there in the class of 2026.
Yeah,
If I can make a suggestion, again, I support whatever the board decides, but I think if we're looking at doing something different moving forward, I would say let's follow along what we've done, rolling that into the junior fund for this year, since we're so late in the year, and then come up with a better policy and procedure going forward.
yeah, I'm not supportive of that. I'm sorry. This is an anomaly. I mean, we made exceptions for the COVID classes that had to be impacted by this. These students didn't choose this. A few of them worked very hard to raise that money, and they are not in favor of having that money roll to juniors. Specifically, they are not. So I think we gotta figure out a way to do the right thing, even though it might be a headache for this year, it should not be a problem moving forward, even if we wait until after the end of fiscal year to move it or earmark it. What else can you do with it? Could the class choose to purchase something for the building?
So I was saying they put their name on it so they're acknowledged or,
Like
I mean, you have to look back through those guidelines.
Yeah.
Can it just stay in the general fund?
It has to be a student activity. So
Has to go back into one of them.
So that's one of those, assigned funds in the general fund.
there's gotta be a way around.
It can be moved, because there's nothing on the purpose sheet, it could be moved anywhere within student activities, but it has to stay in student activities.
They go towards a CTE and then a.
Why is it a clerical nightmare to split it evenly amongst 17 accounts? Honestly, like why is that so much work?
I think.
Legit question.
It's just a journal entries, so it'll be probably separate journal entries for every one of those, that takes quite a
Going
bit
in
of
and
time.
out.
The accounting part of it, Kaylee would be the one to work on it primarily, so she would be working with the accountants at the co-op. But yeah, it'll take time. The journal entry is gonna take quite a bit of time.
Value.
Yeah, it's a board decision, I mean, I lodged what my thoughts are, but whatever the board decides, I'll support that, we'll move forward with it.
Oh.
These kids didn't get a choice to not go on a trip.
Oh.
So how do you give them yet another disappointment when it comes to the money that they fundraised?
We get around it like with have it go to an activity, but like a CTE, but then they build something and then it would go back to the scale, so then there'd actually be recognition.
Well, it would have to go to one of the activities listed.
Okay,
Because the board would have to create any new activities and approve those, and those aren't there with accounts or anything, and that would not occur before the new fiscal year.
I mean, I don't think there's a hurry here, because if the funds can sit in the general, we could probably table it and work through it at a work session. Everybody can take a little time to read the UFARs and see what's.
Stacy?
I do think that because it's all internal, if we send I would have to ask questions to the service co-op, but I think if we just send a list with the percentages and the activities of everything, I think that it would just be journal entries back and forth on the back end. And Kaylee does not have any access to do any of that, but I could work with her to set up an email to send to, I'm assuming we would have Heidi just go in and do the back end, and it would just, so
Maybe just
I
see
just need
what kind of a deal, like how big of a deal that would be.
yeah, because Kaylee actually doesn't have access to any of that. And so I think that we would just need to be sending that on and just say, this is the list, this is the percentages. I don't know if it's, my guess is that I can just send her a list and say, what could we do, and she would be
Mm-hmm.
pretty honest, and because there's no actual check going back and forth and making up a little bit less, in thinking it through, this last week, at first, my initial thought was, you've gotta be kidding. But I think it will just be journal entries on the back end that would be doable.
We have to have a journal entry for every transfer from account to account,
Yeah.
even just.
It's just gonna.
I mean, it should be 30 to 17, right? There should be 30 student accounts, 30 graduates.
Well, there's some that have
Oh,
nothing in
but
their
there's a-
account.
And there's some
No,
that
There's
have
a bunch
nothing.
of them that didn't have any money.
Yeah, so,
Oh, but that is not how that would, no, that's not how that would work.
No.
No, this is
Would
not
just
an
be from the-
individual each,
Otherwise it'd be listed as student
Be one lump
name
sum.
it's
percentage.
one
Uh-huh.
lump sum
okay, yep,
under class of 26.
from one main account, so, the journal entries for 26
Mhm.
is the main one, and then from there, it would be journal entries transferring into, but not each individual,
Yeah.
like this kid and that kid, no.
Right.
This is
No,
one,
right.
but
right,
It
yeah,
will
she
go
was
into
saying.
she meant the amount that they earned
Right.
into an
Yeah.
activity of their choice.
right. Right.
Not from one kid to another.
But I am also, would be fine if we did what you said and split it evenly amongst all of the
Yeah,
accounts.
that would be a little bit less of a,
Again, we'd have to wait, till the final bills are paid on that anyway.
yes,
So,
If you
yes.
did that way, all their passions would go to at least part of their things that they were active in, right?
And again,
Exactly.
to sound like a broken record here, this shouldn't be an issue. Like, they should utilize, we should not be fundraising, you know, unless they're gonna utilize those funds, so it shouldn't be an ongoing issue, but I do think we should have a site guideline in place so that should it ever happen again, you know, then this is what we do.
And on her, this didn't really occur to me, the drama and the play and all that, where's that money? I guess, where is
That
that
is
funded?
district
That's
money,
like
that is not student activity
Okay,
money.
I didn't know if that was, cause not the sports, but then on the activities, I wasn't sure if that was considered an activity on the account side,
They are a district account.
okay. So technically, if we follow the legal laws, then they can't contribute to that then, so.
Well, and like you wouldn't contribute likely concessions,
No,
you know,
Elementary student council,
That's a separate,
it's a separate deal too, right?
See that, the concessions money, I think Betsy would attest to this, the concessions money is usually not that high, I don't think this, where the final numbers have been divvied out to the other
There's
accounts.
something, that's not, that should have, we were told that it was all settled already, but there should not be that amount of money enough.
No, this is from a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay. I was
This is
gonna say.
from
The concessions
shortly
money
after
gets
last
divvied
board
out, and the
meeting.
concessions number is probably only like usually $1,500, just
Right.
like
You
for
drop it down
startup
like a
costs for
startup
the
It
next,
just dropped down to
for
almost
next
nothing.
fall.
but like what I'm saying is you wouldn't want the senior money to go to the concessions
No.
fund.
Be
No.
50.
Concessions money
That
always
would
gets divvied
not.
out to the other ones. so they're
Correct,
working concessions,
exactly, exactly, so like that would be one entry that we wouldn't have to do then, same with elementary student council.
I think every other one on here, there was seniors involved in, well, wrestling, I guess there wasn't, but.
FFA.
FFA, that's on here.
we can,
I would just do the rest of them, I guess, everything but elementary and concessions.
do we wanna push through or do we wanna wait? I suppose at the end of the way, we gotta wait for all the final numbers. to get
Yeah, I think we
before
should just table it and,
If Stacy can find out how big a deal it is to do
Yeah.
it.
yeah,
I think that doing, you know, a percentage would be the best, just so that there's not any discrepancy of any,
Right.
you know,
right.
yeah, one little rounding this or that would, for some,
The other thing is, and I don't know how you would do this at this point, because again, they're gone. But like it would, if this UFARS, and I'm not gonna dig into it now, would allow them to buy something for the building on behalf of their class.
Look at that.
that's furniture.
think.
I mean, depending on what it is, I guess, cause furniture was not.
Yeah, you read through that
Yeah, but
policy,
it wouldn't have to be furniture.
No, but I'm just saying, be careful what, you know, depending on what it is.
you start looking at that, what you can and can't buy.
That's what I said, we just need time to work through that list.
Let's table it till next month.
Yeah.
What's
Or to the work
nearest-
session.
Nearest to it can come back with a recommendation next month.
I'll send an email out tomorrow and get an
Should ask for
answer.
motion table.
We have a motion to set the right word on table, I guess we've done that before, so. we have a
I'll make a motion to table it till next month.
I'll second that.
Troy has a motion, Megan seconds that. Any other input before we table it? All in favor to table this till the work session, we want to, or the start, till next month until we get all the numbers in place? Yes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Cool. Move that, table that, so we'll discuss that one later. The next one, we're gonna just give an update on the contract, and Tim, or Dr. Godfrey accepted the offer that we gave at the last meeting. We were in the middle of getting the templates correct for, it's on the legal side, we're waiting on the attorney to get back the final draft on that to get, like, for the insurance and just to clarify all the proper language on, I think that's the right way to say it. There's a template in there that he's wanting to use, and Zach's trying to get it figured out to.
It's a template approved by MASA and MSBA. That's the standard template, and they have them for principals, teachers, and they have a new one for superintendents, and it has a new language in it for paid family medical leave and ASST and things like that.
And then, I guess, before we move on, cause you accepted that, I mean, you're here?
Yes. Just waiting on the paperwork.
Okay, I mean, that's kind of what we need to know, I know it's, cause we don't wanna be waiting, come up with the next meeting and find out that. We just wanna cover the bases, so. Won't make you be blood brothers, but we're gonna.
Yeah, I don't like bleeding. So
We just watched My Girl, I just cautioned Chase and Charlotte against that very thing, cause they do that on there, I'm like, don't you ever.
We've had bloodborne pathogens.
Yeah, I had that training too, I don't wanna go with that. But we're gonna be strict on holding you to the word here we gotta get once the legal documents are done, according to the terminology, the terms that you accepted off of.
Will we get to see that?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
just
It has
share
to be
that.
approved.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be it has to be approved. So I think that was the main concern, we wanna make sure that we're all on the same page here, and that once we get this finalized, and we won't get a surprise. I don't wanna. I don't know if you had anybody else had any input or questions on this, or? No? Okay, I just wanna make sure we address this and that we're holding you to it, so, and you're gonna hold us to it, so.
Yes, I'm definitely holding you to it.
But yeah, I'm feeling that already, so not. Any other questions on that? Just taking all sorts of space here, we're gonna be moving on the next cable pretty soon, so.
Do you have other old business or the library media specialist position?
Oh, there we go, I missed that one, thanks.
We discussed this at our special meeting about board approving this. We're not adding an FTE, we're just approving a position. My understanding is there was actually a licensed librarian at one time in the district. It just offers more opportunities for students with the classes, and there's just a broader thing. We do have someone interested, if the board approves this position tonight. We'll probably be on the agenda for June for approval for that person's contract. I'd rather not mention a name now because nothing is completed or finalized, but.
Are we gonna open that up?
We did internally first.
Okay.
So it is posted.
Oh, okay.
Yep, but we also offered internally, we did have an internal candidate. So I asked the board if you make a motion to approve adding library media specialist position
Is that, I can't remember, that's gonna be basically a full-time,
Yes, it'll be a full-time.
But it's a shift,
A
not a
shift.
new hire, so that we're just not backfilling one of the,
It'll be a new hire, but it's not creating a new position.
correct.
New FTE.
yeah, we need action on that one.
I'll make a motion.
Megan makes a motion to hire a library and media specialist at the action we want.
Yes.
I'll second it.
Brian second. Do we have any other questions or comments regarding this? Hearing none, all in favor for the hire of a library and media specialist, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries go out for a library and media specialist, which I posted internally first and.
Well, it's been posted
You posted
externally,
already.
but internally as well.
Okay. That's a good deal. Let's point that out. I don't know why I didn't see the 9.2. I went right over that. There, now we can move on to our new business. I've seen Colby sent this earlier, Minnesota State High School League resolution for membership.
Yeah, it's just a annual resolution. One thing they're doing differently this year is electronic signatures. Normally, board chair and clerk would sign and the superintendent, I believe AD, but this time I've given your email, so you should be getting an email if you haven't already for electronic signatures.
Okay. Have to read all this too, or?
I would read the resolved part.
Let's see, resolved that the governing body, entity of Red Rock Central School District located in the, of course, state of Minnesota, delegates the control, supervision, and regulation of interscholastic, is that the right way to say it?
Interscholastic.
I'll say that 3 times fast. Activities and athletics referred to in Minnesota statutes, section 128C, 101 to the Minnesota State High School League, and so hereby certifies to the state Commissioner of Education as provided by the Minnesota statute.
And then the further resolve talks about our participation.
You want me to keep reading?
Just the next one.
You guys love it when I read. Further resolved that the school listed it's authorized by the governing board of Red Rock Central to renew its membership in the Minnesota State High School League and to participate in the approved interscholastic activities and athletics sponsored by said league and its various subdivisions. And I'm gonna read this whole page.
No.
No. I think we got the idea. I think last year we just
Yep.
approved it. So
You did good.
we voted for it. But any questions regarding our state high school league membership? We have a motion for our Minnesota State High School League.
So moved.
We got a second.
Second.
Second by Nate. This is a resolution.
So you do roll call.
So
Erickson, yes.
Warner, yes. Erickson, yes.
Grant, yes.
Imker, yes.
and Keel, yes. Voted by majority, all in. So it's duly adapted to renew our Minnesota High School League renewal, so. So we can move on to our probationary teacher non-renew.
Before the board takes action on this and moves to the resolution, I just want everyone to know this is due to enrollment, and no other reason.
Solely due to enrollment.
Yes.
That's kind of what I gathered as well. We have a member to introduce the following resolution. For the
I'll introduce it.
O'Brien. Resolution of non-renewing probationary teaching contract where Minnesota State Statute Section 122A.4 Subdivision 5A states that the first 3 consecutive years of teachers' first teaching experience in Minnesota in a single district are deemed to be probationary period of employment. And that the probationary period in each district in which a teacher is thereafter employed is 1 year. Whereas Minnesota statute section 122A.40 subdivision 5A further states that any annual contract with a probationary teacher may or may not be renewed as the school board shall see fit, provided that the board gives the teacher written notice of the non-renewal before July 1st. Whereas the school board has concluded teacher Colette Duscher is a probationary period of employment and wishes to non-renew her teaching contract, and now therefore be it resolved by the school board of Independent School District 284, Red Rock Central as follows. Pursuant to Minnesota State Statute Section 122A, Subdivision 5, the board hereby declines to renew the annual teaching contract for Colette Duscher effective at the end of this school year. As a result of this resolution, the district's employment relationship with Colette will terminate effective June 30th of 2026. The school board has reviewed and hereby approved the written notice of non-renewal for Colette. The notice states that the reasons for the non-renewal, the school board chair is directed to sign the written notice on behalf of the school board. The reasons for non-renewal are classified as private personal data under Minnesota Government Data Practices Act unless the non-renewal represents the final disposition of a disciplinary action. And the superintendent or his designee is directed to serve Colette with a copy of this resolution and approved with written notice before July 1st if possible. The notice should be hand delivered, so. And we have a second for this resolution?
I'll second the motion.
Second, sorry, thank you. Second the motion to adopt the resolution upon the vote of majority of the board. We can start the resolution with roll call.
Erickson, yes.
Warner, yes.
Erickson, yes.
Grant, yes.
Imker, yes.
And Keel, yes. Based on the vote of majority of the board, the resolution was declared duly passed and adopted. And we'll have everything signed so you can get that delivered to her.
Yes.
I assume you talked to her a while back on it.
Yes, we've been talking quite frequently about it.
I'd like to thank her for being here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we should be able to move right on to our milk bid.
So we got a milk bid very early, which is good. That way we don't have to worry about going out for a milk bid in August. The same
Prairie Farms.
Prairie Farms, yes.
Is that our current
Yes.
supplier?
Majority of schools, I think, don't they?
In this area at least.
The bid's always like this, no bid.
Yes.
Just making sure. Seemed kinda
Sell
funny
our
to me.
products, not when we're gonna.
I know.
We're gonna buy the products, not know what we're gonna pay.
I get it.
So this is included in our packet. I guess they were Vera Pay School affiliates. Goes to Vera Prairie Farm bid. I guess, yeah, you can all read through that, but
I assume the
numbers,
ones highlighted are the ones we currently have.
the price sheet, that's probably the important part. Did they come in higher than this year? I guess, where do you remember?
The problem is it's fluctuating because of inflation, so really there aren't a lot of firm numbers on there just because of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, how do you even accept that?
That's why I asked, it's
Yeah.
same as every year.
We're going to work with them regardless,
Okay,
and it's gonna be, there's no determination what it's going to be.
I don't know if we've ever gotten any other bid.
I guess it's probably not.
Yeah,
It's always been Prairie Farms, but maybe, I can't remember Dean, or I don't know what the Dean, those other ones are, the Dean Gary, I can't remember if we used to have any of those or not, but. How does that go if, to get any other? Yeah, this is the only choice, so.
It's not a amount where we're required to go out with an RFP.
Okay.
Typically on bread and milk, we just contact our local suppliers who we've worked with in the past. Same thing with fuel. Just whoever locally we've used in the past.
So was there any other questions regarding the milk bid here? Looks like we're whole and there's still a lot of chocolate milk. Is that, I didn't know if that was gonna change or not with all the nutritional guidelines.
No,
Okay.
it's still 1%.
You want a motion?
Yeah, do we have a motion for our milk bid?
So move.
Motion by Troy, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Nate. We have any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor to accept the milk bid, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move on to our solar for schools resolution.
So it's just a resolution, guaranteed energy savings contract for solar.
Put that put into,
It's just,
that must be it.
it's acknowledging our partnership with Ideal Energies, who we don't pay for this process, and they've been the ones that walked us through the application process too.
We received a grant.
We haven't received the final grant yet.
We won't go on unless we get the grant.
Correct. We will not continue without the money.
Okay. I think that's important to know, so. We have a motion to bring in for the school, the guaranteed energy savings contract for solar. Want me to read this before we?
Yes.
Whereas Independent School District, Red Rock Central 2884, makes provisions for chair and clerk to sign guaranteed energy savings contract for the installation of a solar array. And now therefore be resolved that the school board authorize its superintendent to sign the guaranteed energy savings contract with Ideal Energy LLC and Ideal Energy Solar Leasing LLC. And that's, basically that's the only vendor that's working with the solar.
Well, it's the only one that we've been working with.
Okay.
So they're all pretty much the same.
Well, we have a motion to bring this for the guaranteed energy savings contract.
What is that contract for?
It's just saying that they're the ones representing us through this,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And there is no cost?
no cost. And I was explicit about that after we were notified about the grant process, the dollar award. I was very explicit about this. We will not pay a dime towards this.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Even in the future, like when they're at the end of their life expectancy.
That I don't know. There'll probably be some things we'll have to maintain, but LTFM will take care of that. I mean, I imagine solar panels go out, batteries need to be replaced,
Right.
so.
I assume if we discover more information in regards to your statement, like for future costs, that if we discover that within the process, we can back it. If it gets uncomfortable, we can back out.
Sure, but I
don't see it being.
don't think, I mean, like I said, I've waited for like Barnesville, good friends with the superintendent there, they love what they've done, it's saved them tremendous amounts of money. I talked to other people that have done it and they would not change their minds.
Okay.
Do they see how much weight that puts to the roof?
It is, so it doesn't go past our load bearing amount for the roof. They're not anchored down, they're weighted down, and it's rated to what our roof is.
Okay.
They're safe, they'll still stay, we don't need the neighbors with the solar panels. I know we have one to the south that'll be very boisterous if you end up with one
We
in the.
did talk about that too, and I said, if you take a good look at our building, it's pretty much a straight line, winds come up. They said it's actually a perfect surface. so-
Okay.
You're right, Tom.
Yeah, make sure we look out for everybody in the district. Or do we have a motion for the guaranteed energy savings contract?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Brian, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Troy. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, as it's a resolution, we'll go by roll call again.
Erickson, yes.
Warner, yes.
Grant, yes.
Imker, yes.
Keel, yes. Whereas duly adopted by the Board of Red Rock Central for the solar savings contract. That'll be with, what I see, Ideal Energies LLC and Ideal Energies Solar Leasing LLC, so. Duly adopted. And you'll keep us updated when's the next step on that?
Yes.
You expect to have it installed, look at the grant first, as soon as you get a grant, take one, install it, you think?
Well, the engineers have been here to do kind of reconnaissance so far to look how to connect to the mainframe for our current power supplies. So they've got a lot of the pre-work done.
Okay, then we can, district assessment coordinator for MOA assessment coordinator.
Yeah, so currently, Ms. Karnas is fulfilling that position. In the past, there's been a stipend awarded for anybody that was district assessment coordinator. So this is just basically an MOA to do two things: award her 10% and then bring this onto the Schedule B for future use for anybody else wanting to do it, and that would be a 7% stipend because of time and effort put into it.
Who's doing this in the past?
A variety of different people. Last year, it was Ms. Reichert, Colby's done it. Excuse me, Mr. Pack has done it.
Looks like everybody signed on, so everyone's in agreement with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, was there any other questions regarding the duties or the information here that they have listed? Hearing none, do we have we can take motion on this if everybody's ready?
I'll make a motion.
Megan makes a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Troy. Any other questions before we go to vote?
Can I say it? None at this time.
Not at this time.
I've been waiting for the right time to say that.
You were sitting on that the
I
whole
was
night.
like, when can I do it? It's been a long day.
Hearing none at this time, all in favor?
There's no questions at this time.
None. All in favor for the district assessment coordinator MOA, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries for the MOA assessment coordinator stipend, so revised. Alright, I guess, yeah, we're flowed right through. We're at our succeeding meetings. School board work session, which will be Wednesday, June the 3rd, 5 p.m. How's everybody, because I know I might have an issue on that Wednesday, I don't know if there's any thoughts of to move that to a Thursday. Otherwise I can always do remote if we had to, but I'm not for sure if I'll have an issue yet or not though, so.
For the work session?
Yeah, for the Wednesday, June the 3rd, there's a possibility I might be down for time on that one, but to get here.
If you're late or, I mean, I think we should keep it consistent.
Okay, yep. Just wanna throw that out there, then the next regular monthly school board meeting will be Wednesday the 17th at 5 p.m. So, other than that, was there anything else before we close out?
Man. None at this time.
There's none at this time, Tom.
I guess there's none at this time.
Oh, boy.
Thank everybody for coming and I guess as chair, been an honor and really appreciate everybody this school year, and it's crazy it's the end of it already. We got 5 members here with their seniors, gonna be walking. It's kind of a bittersweet end, I guess. Maybe.
Walking or dragging yourself up there to do it, I'm not quite sure.
I don't know, maybe I should give congratulations to the staff, because it's the last of the, at least my Keel kids have come through here, so I don't know if you guys are happy with that or not.
Those are great, yeah. He's got a whole bunch of stuff here, too.
You done? We'll remember that, so. Yeah, thank you to all the retirees this year. Just want to put that public statement out, and really appreciate it, so. We'll call for adjournment.
What time's commencement on Friday night?
What's that?
What time's commencement?
So,
Are you serious?
You need to be here.
I'm gonna, that's why I'm asking.
You need to be here.
I thought it was 7, I better double check.
God.
Oh, they count the trip. Well, like I said, you don't wanna assume.
Resolution for donation.
Next to school and then also.
I've only signed one.
The other one I thought you said was.
I like to see.
Well, that's, I was out there the other day.
Double
I
check
don't even know
your
where that
status.
bench went that
Could've sworn
Brian
I put it-
Fletcher donated from the PTA.
Oh,
That
the
was
wooden bench?
Yes, out
Yeah.
there. It was out there,
It's
then
not
it
out
got
I was
moved,
trying, it's my fault for trying to be too organized.
then it got moved to next
I know
to the
exactly
school,
what bench you're talking
and
about.
then it has disappeared